Started. So, welcome back everyone to the next episode on ABAP on HANA, come S4HANA technical training. In the last episode, we talked about the introduction to SAP S4HANA. We saw that SAP S4HANA is the fourth generation ERP solution in the market, and it's the successor of SAP R3. So earlier we used to have traditional databases, then came HANA, and then came S4HANA, which has significantly reduced the memory footprint. S4HANA is a simplified data model. It's a complete change in the data model drastically as compared to the previous data model. So from business suite to S4HANA, we have tables, different tables available over there with different um, different tables are merged or deleted or amalgamated by SAP, and all the changes are logged in simplification database. To update the simplification database, we use a service marketplace zip file, and we use SYCM transaction code in S4 HANA system to see all the simplification item which affects me. And of course, there are huge number of items. So the main question which will be asked will be, what about my custom code? Yeah. So now you can see this diagram which very much explains the situation. You can see in this example we have a custom code, and we do have here programs. Yes, we do have the function modules, we have programs, we have tables, and these tables and programs are using your standard SAP code. Many of you have built your custom code on top of standard SAP code, like using standard programs, standard function modules, standard tables, or your tables are extending standard structures. And then there are some programs which are using other programs which are then using the tables. So this is the situation today. Our code is very tightly coupled with the standard code. Now, keeping that situation in mind, you can see on the right hand side we have the red color, where it clearly showcases that many of these objects are affected. Yeah, many of your objects are affected by other objects. Yes, and of course SAP have logged everything in the simplification database, as you can see here, and many of these objects have been deleted by SAP. Now the objects which are deleted, it has a direct impact on your custom code, and your custom code will lead to dumps. You can see it's dumping, all are red. Whereas there are cases where your custom code is still going to work smoothly because SAP haven't changed anything in the underlying object. Yes, which then depends on other objects. So there are things which have been changed in standard. There are things which have not been changed. So the most important question is, as a developer, I can go and check each and individual changes in simplification database, but that will be very difficult for me to do so, because in our company we had built huge amount of code which is interdependent on the other block of code. Yes, so what to do in this situation? So in this situation we can actually go ahead and utilize the concept of SAP notes and simplification database. So SAP provide again a very important check which is called S4 HANA Readiness check. And as a developer, like in the last class, you did functional checks to check if your code is ready before it moves to the system where it runs on HANA A to B. Now we'll discuss B to C. So if you're moving to S4, you can actually go ahead and analyze your custom code based on S4 HANA readiness check. So ultimately on the C is where you have to perform these checks. Yeah. So let us go ahead and see this in action, how to perform these checks ultimately in the SAP system in C, where we will just go ahead and check for S4 HANA. Yeah. So I'm going to switch over back and show you what is that we need to do. Now, as I was telling in the last class, when it comes to implementing S4 in your company or anywhere, there are two approaches, S4 HANA on-premise and S4 HANA cloud. So for S4 HANA on-premise, companies will have full control on GUI and SPRO, and these are majorly the 70 to 80% implementation. And it's an interview question: what is the methodology used to implement S4 HANA? The methodology is called SAP Activate. It's a framework provided by SAP. If a customer want to smoothly go to S4 HANA, then this Activate methodology is being used. According to the methodology or the framework, there are different steps in the framework, which includes the explore phase, the prepare phase, the deploy phase, the test phase, the run phase, and the manage phase. So these are the phases of SAP Activate methodology. Now, most importantly, what is there for me? I'm a developer, and as a developer, I want to know which is the phase, in which phase what exactly is that I need to do. Yeah. So as a developer, you need to know when does which phase is your role come into picture. Yeah? When are you invited? So you are invited in the phase called prepare phase. Yeah, you can see here this is a SAP Activate methodology. For simplicity, I have just written two phases: prepare phase and realize phase. So during prepare phase is where your involvement comes into picture. So during prepare phase, what happens is there are first of all, your basis people will do a UPL analysis. Somebody was asking yesterday UPL. UPL stands for unused programming code. Yeah. So you just procedure log. So it will check how many of your code has been unused. Like say many time in our company, we develop lots of custom packages, custom programs, reports, and we just develop them for testing or maybe for a POC purpose. And that code is more of a dead code. We never ever go back and resume and reuse that code. So your basis team can run a UPL analysis to find the dead code. And since you're going to S4, it's a great opportunity that you get rid of that garbage, that code if it is not usable. So this activity is done by basis team. I have linked a blog here in case somebody want to know how to do UPL. Just in case your manager asks you to learn this, then you can read through this blog. Now the next is, since now you are going A to C. Yeah, if you remember A to C, it is not just S4, but it's also HANA. Yeah, you can see A to C is HANA migration also. So you still have to do the checks which I showed you in the last episode, and that is your functional DB check. You can see check HANA related order by things. Yeah. So you have to check also the functional DB checks also. Yeah, that you have to check functional DB checks you need to do. Then comes is the last step, which is S4 HANA checks. And here you need to check for S4 HANA related changes like data model changes. So this is the last step, and this is where you have S4HANA readiness. It's a standard variant. So in interviewer will ask you, if you are company is going to S4HANA, what are the checks you will be performing? So you can answer, if my company is using ECC with Oracle, I will perform two checks, the functional DB checks and S4HANA readiness check. But if my company is already on suite on HANA, where we are already on HANA database, then I will go and perform the S4 HANA readiness check in the source code. Once again, the tool which we use to do these checks is same, SCI or ATC. As I told you, ATC is better than SCI. So that is called S4 HANA readiness check. Then we have the sum tool, software update manager, where we have database migration, software update, and data conversion. These are the things which we will perform after the code is adapted. So once your code is adapted, they will use sum tool, then they will migrate the production data, and they will apply patches and upgrades in the SAP system in the realize phase. So your and my duty comes into prepare phase. So we will be invited into the project during prepare phase. Yeah, prepare phase. So that is the phase when we will be more invited, when we will be more using this entire stuff. So now that is the flow, that is the process what we actually have. So let me show you this process live in action. So as you know, this training is a practical training based on real time use cases. I am not leaving any stone unturned. Everything I'm showing in the live system, which is our training system. So what I've done, I have got some code where I have participated in many implementation projects of S4, or basically brownfield implementation project on S4, and I helped companies and developers to migrate their code to the migrate the custom code to S4. So what I've got with based on my experience, many programs, and these programs are copied from my real time company experiences, again without compromising my integrity with my clients. I have got only small parts of the code where actually there was a change affected due to S4 HANA data model changes. So that is something which I've got here. So we have ZSOH Anubhav package, yes, or suite on HANA. So I'll just say Z star Anubhav, Z Anubhav SOH suite on HANA. So this is the package. In case somebody want to look at my code already, you all can go and check this package in our training system. Somebody asked me towards the end of the class how I check your code. This is the package. I have all my code. Yeah. And here I've written, you see, dirty some programs I've written for all of you, which I will also again, as usual, share with you as part of study material in a notepad file. So these programs have changes which I've got from real world, yes, from my clients. Now again, you see, it doesn't have my client code. It has very generic, simple code. But that is enough for you to actually start learning and practicing S4HANA readiness check. So now what I will do, I will do readiness check. So by looking at these things, if you just simply, let's say this is a program which has come from ECC to S4HANA now. And if I run it, yeah, if I run it, you see it's dumping. Yeah. So this is what happens to you when you go to S4 and all your custom code is available in S4 now. And when you're trying to run this code, it is dumping, giving errors, giving issues. These are the problems you are facing. You see, you see, you're facing all these problems. You see, many of these programs have dumps coming everywhere. Data is not coming. So that's what will happen to you when your company go to S4 because of drastic changes in the data model done by SAP. Many syntax errors will come. Yes, many issues will come. This will be a big problem for you and your company typically. Yeah. So now what do? You have to first check your code. Is it ready for S4? So what I will do, I will right click on a package. This time I'm doing on package level. Somebody asked me also this question. Can you show an example of doing the checks, ATC checks at a package level? So I am doing it at a package level. Run as ABAP test cockpit with, here this is the second option. And I will run functional DB. Instead of that, we do S4 HANA readiness. S4 HANA readiness check is what I'm doing. Click OK. Uh-uh. What's the name? I think I'm doing spelling mistake. Let me copy that. Yes. So this is the name S4 HANA readiness. Okay, click OK. And now you see the check has started at the bottom right corner. You can just see it's still ongoing. Yeah. So you can see it is still up and running. It's ongoing and it is doing all the checks for you. So this will take a few seconds to finish because we don't have much program, but typically in your company, you will have very so many objects and you just keep running it and it's going to take some time and you go for lunch and pick up a coffee and start in the morning and maybe down the line somewhere in afternoon, this will get finished. Yes, if there are so many objects. So once it went through, it completes the process, you're going to get the results and it's going to find out all the potential issues which might arise when your company is, of course, you are already on S4. So when you try to run these programs, what are the issues which will ultimately come when it comes to running it, getting those problems. So you will get to know those issues. And voila, look at that. This is the list. So this is what it is telling. And why it is able to tell this? Because yesterday's class, we have updated simplification database. If I wouldn't have updated simplification database actually, then I would have got I wouldn't have got these issues. And if you can see, each one of them points to a simplification item. If you double click, it tells you what's the problem. Yeah, it tells you. If you click, you see it is telling me the issue. You see, I just click on that, you can see, and everything will also tell you the note number. Now let's say there is a use case in your company In that, according to that use case, your architect says, we don't want to fix it, but we don't want this red color. Yeah, we don't want the issue, because sometimes because of this issue, you can't transport. So in that case, it's a conscious decision by the architect, the owner of the technical object of your team, to suppress this error. Yeah, it's like ignoring. You know there is a problem, but you're intentionally ignoring. Reason could be, maybe this code is not usable, but you still want to keep it in the system and suppress the exception. Maybe this code you would want to fix it in the next cycle. As of now, you still want to allow it to reach to production, the dirty code. Yeah. So the option two is, you can put this exception. Last class, somebody was telling how to avoid that. Yeah. Still it shows the errors, and I don't know why it's showing the error. So you see, this is the exception code. So you can just add this exception code. Yes. You can right click, copy, and add it at the end of this line. Yes. So you can put that code here at the end of line. So this way you are intentionally suppressing the error, but this is certainly not a good idea. You should ideally fix. Yeah. Because then if somebody run this program in production, it will still dump. It's just that you know the problem and you're ignoring the problem and you are letting it go. That's a dirty solution to suppress. But maybe exceptional cases you may need. Okay. Now, what is the ideal scenario? What is the best case scenario? Best case scenario, fix everything. So let's look at one by one. So I will show the fix, and I will also show you the corresponding note number. Yes, corresponding note number. So you see here, it's telling me that a functionality is detected and there is a note number 1804812. Yeah. Now, good news for all of you. For your learning and training purpose, I have already downloaded all these notes in a PDF. Yes, I've downloaded all these notes in a PDF file for you. And this PDF file I will be sharing with you also in the study material, so that you can learn, go through and practice. Yeah. So I have already downloaded all the notes in a PDF file. So I will share this PDF file also in a material with you. Yes. So let me show the note number first. It is 1804812. So let's come back, 1804812 and above. Show me that. So let me see. Here it is, 1804812. That's the note number. Okay. So let's understand that. What it says. It says the following transaction for entering displaying goods movement, called MB transactions, have been replaced by single screen MIGO, which means all these transaction code in S4HANA are now deleted or replaced. MB11, my favorite. MB1A, 1B, yes, often you used to use. Yes, they are now deleted by SAP. And new functions are developed to do all these goods movement using MIGO. So going forward, this is the only transaction which will prevail. So you should replace MB11 with MIGO. So the solution here is, I've written the commented code also, guys. You see, just for making it very easy for all of you to fix these issues. So just replace here with MIGO. So MIGO. And this was somewhere line number 9995 in my company when I was doing a implementation project. So in a very large program, this was the finding which I had. So what I did, I just copied that piece. I put it here in a small program to show you how did I fix it. The large program. These are small points where we fixed it. Save it. Next one, double click. Let's see, the note number is 236888066 68680. Okay, 2368680. There you go. This is the note number 68680. What it says? It says you are doing system conversion to S4. Yes, and here you can see article hierarchy should be maintained via transaction WMAT which are richer than functionality in MAT-GRP. So instead of MAT-GRP, use WMAT-GRP transaction. Use WMAT-GRP transaction. So I'm going to go back. Instead of MAT-GRP, use WMAT-GRP. That's the solution SAP telling me in the note. So I have to read the note, and based on that, I have to put the correct information, and then immediately you can test your code. Yes. So last time you saw it was dumping. If I run, you see it's working. If you are doing a batch data transaction, then whatever recording you have done for BDC, that also needs to be changed accordingly. So of course it will invite all sort of changes accordingly for you in the company. So I run it, and you see last time it was giving an error, but this time it is going to launch the Migo transaction for us. It's a fresh system, so that's why it's compiling. It will launch ultimately. So you can immediately see the program started working in S4. Yeah. So that's the fix we did. Now next one is over here. Type ZTT Matterner SO. This is the table type. I think is unknown. So there is a Z table type which is unknown. Yes, in this particular program, I think this is not our main focus because it's some kind of function group. I did it at package level, so this function, this is no more available. Yes, the table type for Matterner in sales order is no more available. Yeah, for that. So maybe we can create it. So maybe what happened when you transported all your code from the old ECC system to new S4 system, this was missed out by basis team because it was maybe in one of the developer's local object. So we can also fix it. So we just create this table type, right click, new, and I will say table type, click on next, and creating a table type using dictionary type matter, save it, activate, done. And I just come back, save and activate this program. Yes, it got activated. Okay. So now it's a class, so I can't run it actually. It's a function module. I can run it, and you see it's running fine. Yeah, it's regenerated and running. So this is the second fix. Then what is the third fix? Compilation was cancelled. So now it got compiled. So this is okay. Now next one is this one also we fixed it. Delete adjacent duplicate. You see last class functional checks. Yeah, it also did the functional check for us. So we can use quick fix feature to insert sort statement and activate. All right. Next one, incompatible change data element. So you see this is a program where we are using a standard function module provided by SAP. And if I run it, it will dump. You see it's dumping. So this code was working in ECC, but when this code come to S4 HANA, it is dumping. And why is that so? Let's look at the note number, what SAP says. As per the simplification item, it says check the note number 2196 2198647. So let me go to 2198647. Here it is, 2198647. What it says, the note, it says about changes in the data model, elimination of a status table VBUK and VBUP. So SAP have deleted this status table VBAC and VBUP, and there are further notes. So you see document is referenced by, these are the other notes, yeah, which we can go and check. And now you can see here we have these different options available here. So when you open them, these are cookbooks. So one of the cookbook is clearly telling you about the VBTYP. You see VBTYP cookbook with consistent fill VBTYP, and if you notice we are actually using VBTYP. So this cookbook tells you about this. So I've also downloaded this cookbook for you, and it's available over here, you see. And in this, when you go and read about the data element VBTYP, you will ultimately know the VBTYP concept. So you can come back here. So VBTYP, where it is? Let me search VBTYP. Yeah, okay. VBTYP. So what SAP will tell, basically they have extended the length of this data type. Yes, just I'm not able to find that change exactly in this cookbook. It is in this one. Okay, let's try now. VBTYP. Yes, here it is. So it says that the sales document category has been extended from character 1 to character 4 in S4 HANA. Yeah. So when you read sales order documents, the data element size has been changed. So instead of using this VBTYP, which is old, use VBTYPL. Yeah, use L. So that is care 4. This is the solution SAP is telling you. Okay, I understood SAP. I come back and I add this VBTYPL, save it. Yeah, I activate and let me run the code. And at least it will not dump. Last time it was dumping, if you remember, and this time you see it worked. Yeah, it worked. So it opened my order. So this is also done. Very good. Well done. Now let's move to the next item. It says the pricing condition table KONV. Note number 222005. Okay, let's come back. 222005 pricing condition. And the note clearly tells you that the pricing condition table KONV is now replaced with a new table. So you have to go to this cookbook PDF. When you go inside, you will find the pricing condition table. So this issue alone, affecting around 76 program in my company. So they were trying to read pricing condition data and it's not coming because now the table itself is changed and the new table in S4HANA is PRCD elements. So replace that, save, activate, done. Okay, next is semantically incompatible change. And you see the transaction XK01 2226131 2226131. I have it here and you see SAP now have deleted all the transaction code, this one for customer and vendor management, FK01 and XK01 and XD01. Yes, all these transactions have been permanently deleted due to mandatory customer vendor integration. The business partner data structure of BP has been adjusted. So now what happens is SAP don't allow you to create separately customer and separately vendor. They follow the BP first approach. In BP first approach, you have to create a business partner. So anyone who is either a customer or a supplier, they are a business partner for your company. So it's a unified approach of creating a BP because data fields are all same for BP and for a customer or a supplier, right? The customer code, supplier name, city, country, all that stuff. So now I come back and they say change this transaction code with BP. So the central transaction code now is business partner instead of XK01. I activate that, execute, and you see it's working fine. So last time it was dumping and now it's working. Okay, last is XK01 also. Okay, it's done. Now you can see also there are some warnings. So SAP have also got this note and you can see the note number is 222-15424. My personal favorite, or it's not showing here. 222-1524. I don't have that note actually. So basically what SAP have done, they have increased the length of material field from 14 character to 40 character. So you can see some developer, maybe it's not you, maybe somebody else, a fresher who have worked short time on your project for 6 months and then they left. They've done some dirty coding somewhere. Yeah. So they have hard coded the material length. So this should be ideally point to Metner. So let's put that. And that's the correct fix, of course, to adapt to the new or correct length of material number. Then also you can see this is all good. And there are certain fields which are no more containing the correct data. So uh, you can see this LSVBUK. Now all the status of an order is directly stored in the VBAC table, not VBUK table. So this table is obsolete. So you can see this VBUK. You can see a data model change when you go there, and it will clearly tell you that the status, which is GBSTK. GBSTK. Do I see? Yes. So you see the old code in old system, you were reading the status. Yeah. The the dedicated status values. They were earlier coming from this table, VBUK table. And now you can use VBAK table. Yeah. So this is the old code, and the new code is you can use VBAK table directly for the status. So no need to go to VBUK table. This table is now deleted, or in fact it's not being used at all. So let's replace, save, and activate. So now we have done changes and we have tested our program. It's time to recheck all the findings with S4HANA Readiness. I right click and I say recheck. Yeah, recheck, and you see it's processing. It's running, it's cooking. Our food is cooking, and in just few seconds you will get to know the results of this cook. Yeah. So in just few seconds we will get to know the latest results of S4HANA Readiness check once again after my fix. So by the time let it do, I will ask some of the questions. And usually I cover all interview and questions, certification questions or interview questions already, because I have been training these things since many, many years now. And I come across many consultants who constantly ask questions to me. So what are the questions here? Question number one: when should we do readiness check? Before going to S4 or after going to S4? Yes, this is the first question which comes usually in discussions when I have discussions with student. Now, second thing, the answer of this question is hidden. Can you tell me, everyone, where do you find the transaction code SYCM which I taught you in last class? Is it available in ECC or is it on S4? Where do you have this SYCMT code? No one?
S4.
S4. So can you do your readiness check in ECC where you don't even have the simplification database? Of course not. So technically, it's not feasible to do checks on EC. The functional DB check which we saw, they can be done in ECC, but S4HANA readiness cannot be. Yes. Now, then the problem is, Anubhav, I am worried because when we reach to S4 already, how we fix them so fast? Because my company has gone to S4 and now everywhere there are dumps. So how do we fix them? Yes. Now, let me give you answer properly. So when your company plan to go to S4 HANA, it will be like a project, like general project, which will have a timeline of 4 to 6 month cycle. So it's not like today you go to S4 and tomorrow only you have to have everything working. No, it's a project. Yes, you will be put on that project. So usually our ABAP team is split into two parts. Let's say you have a team of 40 developer. So a project manager will split the team into two parts, 20 developer, 20 developer. Now the first 20 developer, they will do the maintenance of ECC as usual, business as usual. Yes, but not develop new functionality. So they will halt the new developments. Why? Because that is the only capacity they have, right? They can't do development, and they will postpone their development until they are live on S4. And the second part of the team will start the conversion process where they will be given 4 to 6 months of time to fix all the custom code issues. Is this clear? This is how a project runs. This is how a, so it's called S4HANA conversion project. It runs from 4 to 6 months, and some companies maybe a year. So it is not like today you got S4 and tomorrow you are live. Cannot, cannot. There will be proper project team. There will be proper project plan. There will be manager. There will be scrum meeting, just like a normal SAP project. So you will be given time. It's a teamwork. Of course, for demonstration, I did everything in just few minutes, but that's not how real time works. In real time, you will have a dedicated project running 4 to 6 months, where some of you now who knows the secret of S4HANA readiness, you all will be part of it. When your company says we are going on S4, your manager asks nomination, who can work on ABAP on HANA? You can say, sir, I can work. Increase my salary this year 30%. I will work. I know the knowledge. Yeah. You stand up and raise your hand. Go for it. Yes. You will be rewarded for sure. So that is how it runs. It is not a overnight journey to go to S4. It's a proper project. And you remember the phases? We have phases. Yes, it goes in a phase by phase approach. Yes. So what happens typically? What are the phases? So first, the S4 HANA dev system will open for basis and developers. Basis will migrate all the custom code and test data to S4. Developers will fix the or will perform custom code adaptation for 3 to 4 months, or depending on the scale of the project. Yes, for couple of months, depending on scale of changes. So you did readiness check and you found 10,000 findings. Now you can do math and calculate. If one developer fix one issue in 30 minutes, what is your capacity? What is the team size? So you can, like in childhood days, simple math, right? If Ram is constructing a wall in 10 days, how many days it will take to construct the same wall if Ram, Shyam and Mohan does that, right? You do 1 by 3, right? 10 by 3. So that's a simple mathematics. Again, that mathematic you don't need to know. Your project manager have the headache to do that planning. Yes. So that your project manager will take care of it. Now, the next important question come from management. My manager or my management want to know now, before even going to S4, what is the impact on custom code, and kind of a effort estimation, so that they can decide if we do this quarter or next quarter. So my manager or my management is asking me, hey S4 developer, hey ABAP on HANA developer, can you somehow give me at least some estimation that how much of the custom code will be dragged to S4, and what will be the percentage impact? Give me a tentative estimate. Yes, often your manager will pressurize you to give estimates. Yes, how much time? How many lines? How many code? Now you don't have S4 system right now in your company, but still they want to tell you. So this is a very common question and requirement by many companies where they are not yet on S4, they don't have S4 system, yet they want to know the impact. Yes. So the good news, SAP offer a new tool called S4 HANA Readiness 2.0 tool. What you need to do is you need to go to ECC system, download custom code zip file from a program. I'll tell you the program name. After that, you need to upload that on SAP portal. SAP is giving a free portal where you can upload, and the system will show you the impact and effort estimation along with. So it will tell you impact, it will tell you efforts, how much efforts it's going to take, it will tell you impact, it has an effort estimation, it will tell you. Yes, it will tell you impact with a beautiful dashboard. It will also tell you based on your current data in ECC how much size of HANA you need, how much GB of HANA you would need in the future if you go to S4. So you can help your company to plan activities on S4 better. Yes, you will be the star of your company. Yes, with this knowledge. Now, this is all given in a beautiful video given by SAP TechEd. This is the YouTube video. I would give you this as an extra knowledge directly coming from SAP. Yeah, SAP TechEd directly. Yeah, in this they will tell you everything. But if you want to read, you also have this option to read. So I was telling you about the process. You see, this is the process, and then I was telling you about the program, right? So you see, this is the approach, readiness check approach. So you use this report SYCM download repository info in ECC system. It will download your custom codes into a zip file, and then you upload this zip file in the SAP portal link which SAP gives. This is the portal link. You see, it's a free software given by SAP. So you see all the steps are documented here. Prepare, readiness check framework, yeah, with notes. And I will show you the program name so that it will be easy for you. So there is a program you need to run in ECC because your custom code is there in ECC. So you run that program in ECC system. It's called custom. Yes, go back down to the diagram only. It's called SYCM download repository info. This is the program. So go to SE38, run this in a background job to download the metadata info of your custom code. So to download all the custom code, you have to give the namespace Z or Y programs, yeah, or you have a custom namespace. Do that. It will download all the code. Yes, in a zip file. It will take some time. That's why you have to run it in the background. Yes. So once it does that, so I'll just give the program name. Once it does that, our next step will be to go ahead and upload it in the portal. So you have to go ahead and upload it in the portal actually. So I'll give you the link of the portal which SAP give. I'm not giving that. This is the portal link. It's all given in this documentation. Yes, you have to upload. I did it for many companies. You know how much I charge for this service? Just to download the code, upload in the portal and give this dashboard to them? $6,000. Just to download one file and upload in this portal and get this dashboard and download this dashboard in a PDF, give it to them. $6,000 is what I charge. Yes, that's how, guys. That's how. Okay. So now, so guys, as I told you, I need to take a break and I will resume this session after the short break. I'll be back after the short. All right, guys, welcome back after the break. So before the break, we discussed about the process of S4HANA readiness check. So now you can also do this for your company before your company go to S4. And then you can give this dashboard. Let me play the video given by SAP. And in this, they will demonstrate this live dashboard where you can actually see all the information on this dashboard live. So it's a very beautiful dashboard which gives all the impact analysis when it comes to your S4 system. So let me improve the quality of this video to 720 pixels and increase the speed a bit. So you can see here it shows the HANA sizing, how much database is what you would need, an estimate of the database depending on the size of the custom code, and also the current sizing of your data. It will actually tell you in the portal. Then next it will also show you the custom code analysis tile you see here. And here it tells you adaptation effort, that if your company want to actually go with the implementation of S4 HANA, what are the activities you need to go through. Yes, you need to go through how many activities you see. You need to go custom code adaptation, user training, customizing, configuration, and other activities. And out of these activity, how many of them are mandatory, how many of them are conditional, and how many of them are optional for your company. And then of course the most important part, which is it will give you a analysis of custom code. You see that if your company plan to go to S4, what is the functional changes you need to carry out, technical code adoption you need to carry out, and technical code adoption for which the automation is available. Automation means quick fix from the Eclipse tool. So for this is just an example. And how many of are in scope based on your current S4 scope. Let's say you are using S4 only for finance. So based on finance, it is just telling you finance specific action. If you look at the entire ERP, if your scope is entire ERP, finance, SD, MM, CRM, HCM, PLM, then this is the scope. But here is where you choose. You can see it is telling you in your current scope how many total adaptations you need to carry out, and then you can drill down on this to see the total number of changes. So quick fix available, not available, strategic changes, out of scope, or the changes in the scope, things which will be provided by S4, things which will not at all be provided by S4. All this kind of information it will tell you. And this dashboard you can give it to management and explain them. Go through this video. It's a great video for 48 minutes, which is going to get you complete idea of the custom code adoption and readiness check 2.0. Yeah, readiness check 2.0 is what's going to give you complete idea. So go through these blogs and this video. I have already gone through them. These are extra additional material for all of you. My goal as part of this training is to bring you the best in class and best knowledge actually. Yes, that's what I want to do. So now let us go ahead and see the next section. Any question on readiness check, please feel free to ask before we move to the next part.
Yeah, the estimation that you're talking about are just for the code remediation, right? But the actual like functional testing, I mean, that's like a lot of time needed there, right?
Yes. So after the fixes are done, then there will be a functional test. There will be automation test. Yes, which will be done by scripts, either you using ECAT framework or the Selenium framework for testing your ABAP screens, or you can also test Fiori. Of course, S4HANA, the default user experience is Fiori. And then after that, there will be user acceptance test once the customizing and configurations are done. And that's when your quality system will open for the first time after like 6 months of dev system. And that's where you move all the things. Then you have data creation, model company creation in quality, where your testers are going to test again entire solution. The business processes is what they look at, like order to cash, procure to pay, hire to retire. All these business processes is what they test. And once they give a go ahead, then your production system will open for the first time. And that's when slowly you will discontinue your ECC and you will start a phased rollout to S4 HANA in your company. So that's a typical life cycle of adoption or implementation of S4 in any big organization. Again, there will be developers, testers, QS, QPS, solution architects, solution designers, senior developers, uh, project managers, project planners, architects, basis consultants, database administrators, network administrators, IT consultants will be involved, yes, along with functional consultants and S4 migration experts. They will be involved with the partners to get this project to a closure. So I just covering here a very small perspective of what is our duty as a technical consultant. Of course, there are different consultants involved in a project team who have their dedicated responsibility towards the project. Okay. So having said that, now the most important part, you are on S4, your quality system open, your production system open, your custom code adapted, and you are happy. Yes, you are happy. So now comes is this next part. Once you are on S4, technically speaking, now you are on HANA. You are on HANA. You are on HANA. So now you are on HANA. Since you are on HANA, as I mentioned, you buy a luxury car like Lamborghini, yes, or Passat. So you would want the best performance out of that car. When you put your car on the road, it should certainly run faster, give you the performance which no ordinary car gives you, right? So that is what you would want to get it actually. So once everything settled down, the dust settled down, the custom code adapted, S4 HANA is live, you're ultimately on HANA. And now your company will ask you, can you show me the power of HANA? We spent millions of dollars on this implementation and we are on HANA technically. So how do you improve performance? But before we even talk about improving performance, we need to understand where to improve the performance. Yeah. I mean, you say improve the performance, but where? Yes. Where? Yes. So I just say go there, but where? So now there are other questions arise. So the first question will come that now is that we stabilized and go live on S4, or even you go live on suite on HANA. The ultimately we are using HANA. So we want to improve performance. But the main question comes is which report, which program, which code line we need to improve. So will you go and do a inky pinky ponky on your code that I have three programs, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3? Would you do that to actually, improve the code? Certainly not, right? You cannot go by the hunch. You have to have concrete data with you to know where to improve the performance. Now, to do that, first of all, you need to understand performance guidelines. Yes. So you really need to know, is this program need an optimization, or is this the best of all already? Yes. I don't need to touch or change it, right? So the first thing first is we need to check if the code complies to performance guidelines before we actually start doing anything. So we only care about the code which is not, you know, it's not written in the best manner. Now, some of you already comfortable with some of the rules which I taught you, like you should not do select star. Yeah, very basic rule that was, but there are other rules which also applies. That was just one of the rule for performance, right? But there are other rules. So let me show you the rules which you need to care about, and these are called performance guidelines. Yes, these are called performance guidelines. Now guys, these guidelines are there since many years in SAP. They are not new. Yes, but now is that these guidelines become very relevant. Yes, because we are on an in-memory database with HANA. So what are the guidelines? Yes, and in what cases these guidelines are violated, And in order to avoid violating these guidelines, what should a ideal developer should do? And as you all know, I would want to believe and do things more on a pictorial representation rather than writing more of a theoretical representation. So let me quickly touch base upon on the on the guidelines. Yes, the performance guidelines, which are there since not since quite a long time in SAP. These are not new guidelines given by SAP. It has these guidelines are there since many almost many years by now. So, but now they become very relevant for us to look at the code and improve the code. So, what are these guidelines? So, these guidelines include, the first guideline is keep the result set small. So, in this case, you will see that we have this large result set and we have the small result set. You can see large, small. Yeah. So, that is the first one, large result set and a small result set. That's a guideline. So when in what cases this guideline violates, or what should we do as a programmer, as a ABAP developer, to avoid a large result set of data, to bring down the result, keep this result set small. So we should discard the records which are not required in ABAP layer using where clause. So when you're writing the queries, you should discard all the unnecessary records using where condition. That will keep your result set small. Yes, you don't want to pull everything from database layer in ABAP layer and then you want to do processing on massive data, because that is going to cause a lot of network overload. Now you should avoid selecting from large tables without conditions. Of course, again, it comes to where clause or conditions. So that will also keep your result set small. If you are using group by clause to aggregate data, you should use the having. Yes, you should use the having. So if you are using the group by, you should use having clause. Yeah, you should use the having clause. So that will actually minimize the result set. Okay, or minimize the data result set. This is the first guideline. How should we protect against large result set? So our goal is still achieve functionality, but how to optimally achieve functionality, and the best way is minimize the data transfer. Next comes is minimize the number of calls, number of database hits. This is very often, I see when I review codes of my developers. Some people, they are writing knowingly or unknowingly, they are hitting database again and again and again and again. And when does this happen? Yes, what can cause this kind of things? So this will be a very common issues in many companies. Nested selects. Now nested selects could be knowingly or unknowingly. Let me give you an example. Knowingly or unknowingly, what does it mean? So I have a program, and in this program I am writing a select query, and then I have another select query inside. So when a select and select runs, how it runs? It runs like a loop. It will hit database again and again. And in this, if you again write another query, so you have actually hitting your database x in n into m times. That is what is happening when it comes to hitting the tables. So this is a nested select. It is very dangerous. Now this is knowingly, you can see upfront. But let me give another example. In my company, I had a program which was doing a loop at item. Yeah. And in this loop at item, there was a function module. This function module was calling a class. This class was calling another class. And in this class, there was a select query. Yeah. In this class, there was a select query. This is what was happening in my company. And now, I mean, who can guess? Yeah. Nobody will go like this. Yeah. At runtime, when the code runs, the loop starts, it goes, it hits the select query, hit the database. Then the loop finish and the next loop pass starts. It goes, again hit. Yes, again next loop pass start. So in this case, developer don't know. But actually, at runtime, when the code runs, this is doing a nested select. It's hitting the database again and again and again and again. Oh, so much, man. So much and too much. Yeah. So that's a big problem. It's called nested select actually. It's called nested select. So we should avoid nested select knowingly or unknowingly. Yes. So we should avoid that. What should we do in this case? We should use joins and subqueries. Somebody was talking other day. Anubhav, can we use subqueries? Yes, you can use subqueries. Yeah. You should also, you can try to use for all entries. What is for all entries? Evappers. So I'm sure some of you have worked on for all entries in your career. So for all entries is used to pass an internal table to select query. Suppose you have internal table. In this you contain the product data. Yeah. Let's say product 1, 2, 3. And now you want to get orders from database table where you want to get order for these products. Yeah. Order for these products. So you say select star from sales order where the product ID in. Yes. And you pass this. So what happens? You can say for all entries. Please check my product internal table. Pass it to database in one shot. So I'm not doing a loop at internal table and a select. That's a nested select. I don't do that. I say for all entries in the product table. Yes. Where product ID is equal to itab dash PID. So this is the product ID column of our internal table. When we do this processing in one shot, the data will go to database. The internal table will go to database and loads all the data for you out of the box. Wow. So this is how exactly we can actually work with the for all entries. But there is a disadvantage of for all entries. You know what? If this table, internal table is empty, it is havoc. Why? If your internal table by mistake is empty, it will go to database table. And in this database table, if there are 10 billion records, 10 billion sales order, all sales order will be read. It will not filter based on PID. So before you call for all entries, always it's a good practice to check if your itab is not initial. Yes, your itab is not initial. It is not empty. Yeah, that you have to check. If some developer doesn't check it and by mistake, your internal table is empty, everything will be selected from database. So it's always you need to do it safeguarding of your code. Yes. Next, you need to perform array operations. I tell you a story of a developer. His name was Matthew in my team. You know, once upon a time, Matthew need to insert 100 records to database. What he did? He said, do 100 times. Insert. This is what, how innocent Matthew was. Yeah. So this is what Matthew, I don't blame him because he's a fresher. So this is what Matthew does. This is what is taught to him. If there is a repeated work, use the loop in the college days. But someone who is expert in ABAP, anyone in the room who is expert in ABAP, can you tell me what do you do if you are at place of Matthew? Anyone? If you want to insert 100 records together, one shot, anyone? No one. Come on, Matthews. No one. You do insert into table from internal table.
From
You put all the records in
internal
an
data.
internal table and you say from table itab, and all the 100 records are part of this table. What happens? All these records will go in one shot, just one call to insert all the data. That's what will happen. That's what will happen. So this is what actually happens in a company. Yes, please remember that. This is how we should use array operation to insert the data in one shot. In one shot. Okay. So next one, the third thing, minimize the amount of data sets, or I say volume of data. So here it was the large result set. Here is the volume. We are talking about volume, high volume, low volume. So fat data and thin data. So this is fat, this is thin. That's a difference. Okay. So now if we do this, we have got the fat and thin. So in this case, avoid using select star. You are selecting all the columns. Don't do that. Yes. Use aggregate functions like sum, min, max. Don't load everything and then do total. Don't load everything and then do everything. No, don't do that. Yes. Use the concept of aggregate function. Try to aggregate your data. Use HANA functions or use expressions like case expression. If you remember, we did earlier in new select query phases, and SQL functions in ABAP. These are the things you should try to use to minimize the volume of data transfer. Volume of data transfer. Now, this is another guideline provided by SAP. These guidelines are there since many, many years. Nothing new I'm teaching you. I studied them in way 2001, I think. Like 20 years ago, I studied them. So, but now they're relevant. Now, minimize the search overhead on database. Then also don't overload or overhead database with unnecessary operations. Yes, minimize the search overhead on the database. So what you should do if database is there and it is constantly processing, yes, it is constantly processing, you should minimize the search overhead on the database. Yes, minimize the search overhead on the database. So some people, they write, background jobs, and they never forget, or they forget to put, the condition to stop the background job when, or scheduled job when. Also, sometimes you have loops and you have unconditional loops. They run infinite times in background jobs. They will overhead your database unnecessarily. We should avoid that. Yes, we should avoid the search overhead. So in this case, SAP HANA have this great concept of fuzzy search. We should use that. Full text search, fuzzy search. And finally, we have the concept of search overhead we should remove. Don't overhead database with unnecessary operations like, uh, you know, uh, unwanted DB operations, batch jobs, background programs, which you don't need them anymore. Yes. Use code to data paradigm, which I will also be covering in our training. Many techniques are there. We should do that to avoid the unnecessary or complex or operations which consume a lot of time for your database. Yes. So avoid time consuming database operations. So these are the guidelines which provided by SAP. Now you know the secrets of what should we do and what should we not do. But the question comes, Anubhav, in our company, we have written over one, or let's say 10,000 reports, yeah, or let's say 30,000 other objects, reports, interfaces, function modules, classes, and ELE and functions, yeah, RISE objects. Yes. So will I go to every line and scan from my eyes to find if there is a violation in the guideline? Yeah. Do I need to do that? No. And impossible to do that also manually, correct? So what do we have? SAP provide again a custom code, or a variant, a check variant. It's called performance DB. Another certification question. If you want to check your code complying to SAP guidelines for performance with respect to database and queries, which variant you will check against? Performance DB. Wow, superb. So now, once again, I would like to take you to the live system, and I've written a program. I will not tell you what is the dirty code in my program. Yes, but my program have really dirty coding. Yeah, this is a program I've written. It has dirty coding. I will not tell you what is the dirty code. Yeah. Yes. So what I will do now, I will just go ahead and do the check on this program, and the system will tell me where is the dirty coding. So I'm going to right click and I will say run as, and I will do ABAP test cockpit, and I will say performance DB. Click OK. And it's running. And in just few seconds, you have the results from ATC checks to tell you, is this program written by Anubhav have dirty coding? Oh, Anubhav, you are a dirty coder, Anubhav. Very dirty coder. I did it for you guys, just to show you, just to make you guys learn. Yes, I do write sometime dirty coding when I fight with my wife, but usually I don't. Even though I do it, I have ATC checks to tell me that my code is dirty. Jokes apart, you can see what we have done. You see, we are hitting a big table, but we are not reading, putting a where condition. Can anyone in this room tell me we are writing a query on a big table, but not writing where condition? According to you, which guideline am I violating? Who will tell me? According to you,
First
I'm
one.
first one. Very good answer. Keep the result set small. Yeah, that's the guideline. I'm hitting the table without where condition. Yes, you see, no where condition. First guideline I'm violating. Last table, no field of HDB table index in where condition. Again, first guideline. Yes. Next, you see, non-local nested reading. Look at that. See, computer is very smart now. You see, it is able to detect that you have a subroutine. Check item. You see the subroutine. There is a select and select, which is a loop. And in this loop, we are calling a subroutine. And we are doing select. We end select. We go to the next loop pass. Again call. Select. We go to next loop pass. Again call. Select. Next loop pass. And so on. And so on. Yes. Now what it does, it will do nested select actually. You see, it caught here. So things which you cannot see from your bare eyes, where there is a function module which has a class, that a class has a select, and it's written inside a loop, it will catch. It will also catch. Yeah. This is a nested select. This is a nested select. This is a nested select. Perfect. So you can see also select star. Even though you're not using all the fields, you see it is got 6.3% of fields used. Means you are reading 10 fields. You're doing select star, which is reading everything. Yes. But what is happening? only 6.3% fields. Out of 10 fields, only 6 fields you are using in your code ultimately. Yes. Which guideline? High volume of data. Avoid select star. Nested select. Yeah. So you saw these guidelines are caught by this variant performance DB. Very good. So now I got ya the violations in my company for the performance guideline. Yes. Now I got ya the violations in my company for these performance guidelines. So what is my next step? My next step is to go ahead. My next step is to go ahead and also ask more questions. What is the next question in my company? The next question here is, in my company, I ran the functional DB check and we found total 29,000 statements which are not following guidelines. Shall I start and fix all the 29 case statements from tomorrow? Anyone? You ran this check on your package and you found 29,000 findings in your package. From next day morning, do you start fixing all these 29,000 lines? Anyone?
No.
No,
Why?
we need
Why
to
not?
know which have priority.
Sorry?
We need to know which have priority.
Which have
Which one
priority?
have
Good.
priority?
Good answer. I
Mm.
love your answer. So answer is no. We need to know what are our priority. You are an
I think
engineer.
the ATC, I think the ATC will give you priority 1, 2, and 3. So based on that, you
No.
can,
No. For ATC, everything is prior one. I'm talking about this prior one, red color. These are
red one.
29,000. Warnings, priority two. Let's say these are 86,000. So I'm talking about 29,000 red, 86,000 oranges. So you've got 29,000 apple, the red color, and you've got 86,000 oranges. What would you choose, apple or oranges? Absolutely.
Apple.
Apple? 29,000 apples you want to eat? Cannot. So what's the plan? What's that magical number? Or maybe I sit at front of computer and I say inky pinky ponky and I found random checks and then I start fixing. I cannot. I'm an engineer. I need to have a plan to go. What's the plan? What's the plan, man? Yes. So guys, notice here, you need to hit, you need to hit it with the bullseye. Okay. You need to hit it with the bullseye, guys. You need to hit where it hurts the most. Yes. You need to have a plan, and that plan cannot be easy. You have to have a strong plan and a justification behind the plan. So my plan is to find the most used code in our company. That should be my priority. Correct? The most used code, the code which is used the most by the users, my users who are, uh, of course, my users are not using all 29,000 statements with the equal uses. Out of these 29,000, maybe 3,000 lines of code are being used heavily every day, every night, every evening, every morning by my users. Then 6,000 in once a day. Then 5,000 once a week. Then remaining all once a year or once a quarter or once a month. Yes. So I need to know the most used code. That's what I need to know. That's The bull's eye, guys. We need to hit the bull's eye. Yes. You might have heard about don't don't shoot unguided missiles, right? Don't shoot unguided missiles. Your missiles has to be, you know, guided with precision. You should have precision, where it has to hit the target. If you miss the target, you lose $300 million missile. It has to hit the target where the target is, right? So it has to hit the target. And our target is the most used code. But the question is, which system? You will know the profile of most used code. Anybody? Development, quality, or
Production.
production?
Production.
Production.
Production system is where you know the actual uses of the code by company. Yes, the actual uses where it is actually being used in your company. Actual uses of the code in the company. We need to know that. Very important, guys. Very, very important. Need to know where exactly. Now, the next question is, which tool can we use to find the most used code in production? What are the tools? So you might have heard about some tools which will tell you the profile of the most used code. But then before even that, I need to know what are my goals. See, I'm asking question upon question upon question. Remember, these questions will be asked by your manager in the real time project, step by step. You clear one question, manager will give you next question. You clear next question, manager will give next question. So this question will be asked by your top management to you step by step. So first, let's talk about what are my goals, what I'm trying to find here in the production system. Yes, we come to production system to find what? Yes, what are my goals? So my goals are what I need to find. First is I need to find ST05 and SAT. This can, sorry, what are my goals? Oops, sorry. Where is my PPT? Here it is. What are my goals? So my goals are to find the most used code in the production. But how do you justify that goal? So I need to know the most expensive request entry point, transaction, function module, class, yes, report, which is the most expensive entry point in terms of TB time. In these entry points, which SQL query dominates the SQL profile? So let's say you found a program. In that program, there are 100 SQL statements. Are all 100 taking same time? Maybe not, right? You want to know out of these 100, which is the one which is taking most of the time. You need a drill down. And what is the most expensive SQL statement profile in entire SAP system? We need to know all these things, guys. Very, very important, guys. Very important. Then comes is what are the tools we can use in production. So you have a very popular tool, ST05. I'm sure all of you are aware of that, which is called runtime analysis of ABAP program. It can cause an overhead on SAP system, slowing down the production system, which is unacceptable. Yes, that's the first problem. We don't want to use that. And your basis will not allow you. They will stop you to use this tool. Then we have start and ST03. These are the system level tools used by basis team. These to get aggregated performance at high level. There we cannot get the drill down. So you get aggregated performance at system level, but we need drill down also. We need to reach to the exact query which is taking how much time in a program on an entry point. Then come your favorite tool ST04 SQL trace. SQL trace gives comprehensive data of entire set of SQL commands, which also includes the the standard queries fired to system tables. This also slow down the performance, but do not give entry points. That's the problem. That's the problem with SQL tools. These are the tools which we have, which some of you already used or want to use or aware of it. So ultimately the goal is production system. You will either not get the comprehensive data you need to meet your goals, or or your basis team will not allow you to run these things. Yes. So what's the option? What's the choice? So SAP offer new tools now. It's called SQLM, SQL Monitor Tool. What is SQL Monitor Tool and how it is different from other tools in the market? Let me tell you that. So our main concern is that the basis team will not allow me to use SQL Monitor Tool or any tool in production system. In fact, sometimes you don't have login to production system. They don't give you the login also. Of course, you cannot expect them to give you a permission to run a tool, but you need to convince them. How you convince them? Show them this documentation of SAP. SAP help SQLM, SQL Monitor Tool. Yes, SQL Monitor. This is the tool. So the most interesting part, I'll not read through this document here. Yes, I'll give the link in case you need to read it. So here you see the most interesting part about this tool, that it will cause minimal or absolutely no overhead on production system. You see here, you can see SQL Monitor tool. You can use it in productive system. I'm not telling you this. Who is telling you this? Look at this. Official documentation is telling you this. Take this to take this to your basis team, to your manager. They will get you. So it run in productive system in parallel to productive, since the performance overhead is on a business process is negligible, less than average 3% overhead on a running process. So this tool can be used in production system because performance overhead is almost negligible. How this tool works is it works in an asynchronous way. When you read through more documentation about this tool, you will know about the inner working of this tool, how this tool internally works. So I told you that whenever you run a ABAP program, your application layer will send the call and it will send to database layer. Yeah. And there is something called database interface, which will send all the calls to database. Yeah. That is what it does. SQLM tool, what it does, it works with this. Actually, it works like this asynchronously, which means it runs in parallel mode. Yeah. This tool runs in parallel mode. It works in asynchronously. Okay. Asynchronously means the database interface is sending query and it is running parallelly to collect all the data about the query execution. and it keeps all the data in the table. That is what it does. Yes, that is what SQLM tool does. Yes, that is what it does. So it keeps collecting all the data like this. SQLM tool. Now, once the data is collected, you can analyze it. And this is the best part. It can be used in the production system. So once again, as you all know, this training is a practical training in the live system. What I've done, I have activated this tool in our system, our training system already. And then today, all over the day, I ran programs all over the day. I was sitting and working, preparing for today's class, and I executed many lines of code in our system, in our company system today for you guys. And then, yeah, it's available in S4HANA. Yes, it's available in S4HANA. Yes. And then I will now show you how the result will look like in this tool. So let me show you the result of this tool. I today ran some programs in our company system to show you how it works. So now let's go back and see the results. And now I come back here and we are going to go to Control 6 and I open this tool SQLM. And you see I've activated this tool already. This is the activate button. I did that today. You see, today I did it. Yes. And then I ran some code, some programs today in our system. And now what I will do, I'll keep it running, no problem. I'll display the data, what it collected for me. So I click on display data. It has got the rate range, which is good. And now I have an option to choose how I want to read the data, how I want to aggregate the data. So as per the goal, what was our goal? Let's read the goal. Most expensive entry point in terms of database time. Tell me which program in production, which class, which background job is taking most time in the production. Most use, guys, we need to find most use object. So you come back and say by request. Sort by total database execution time, you see. Click on execute and now you will find here the most executed or most taken time object. So you see Z and Y I want to filter. So I say Z star, Y star. You can give the package name also. And you can see these are the most time consuming entry points in my company. Look at that. The total database time was in millisecond was this much. 17 crore 77 lakh 81,836 millisecond it took to execute this program in my production. Total database time, how much time it took on database request? 17 crore 77 lakh. What was the total time of the execution of the program? 20 crore 56 lakh 29,000. I think it's 2 or 5 crore 62 lakh 91,778 millisecond it took the total program time, out of which this was the database time. Yes. And you see these two times are matching. If there is a overhead between network overhead between database and application layer, that will also get captured here. Yeah. This is the time it took from starting from application layer to go to database, process everything and come back to application layer. This is the time it purely spent within the database. Almost it is same, which means there is no network problem at least. Then total time per DB time per time percentage. So how much percentage of total time? Let's say program take 100 second total. Out of it, 80 second it spent on database. So the percentage is 80%. So 86% of the time it was on the database. Total number of database executions were 41 lakh 93,000 database executions. Total database records which were fetched were 62 lakh 87,400 database records were fetched. To fetch each record, This was the time it took to fetch each record actually. Yes. And this is the mean DB record. And these were 2100 sessions it created, internal sessions to fetch the data. It's a report program, not a background job. And this was the time it took to fetch one record of database. There are total 3 SQL statements only. Oh, now we don't know, all the fingers are not same size, right? So out of these SQL statement, which SQL statement took the maximum time? So you can double click now. Yes. So you can double click on this entry and you can see these are the 3 SQL statements. This one took the maximum time. Yeah, maximum time it took. Yes. This one took the maximum time. So remember, most expensive entry point we got here. When we drill down out of all the SQL statement in this entry point, which SQL query dominates the SQL profile? So this is the SQL query which dominates. You can double click, it takes you to the query and you see select single star. This is the query. You can clearly notice it is inside print product and print product was called inside a loop. Oh my God, that's certainly a nested select. Yes, remember, calling database again and again, hitting database again and again and again. Wow. Similarly, this is the second one. Double click. You can see again form, select, nested select. Yes, like this. So this is how exactly we've got here all the code. Next one is this guy. You can go inside. There are 6 database statements. These are fine. These are just doing fine. Yeah, not much time, but these are the ones taking most time. Double click. Let's see. It says select. Yes, where you're selecting some data with a where condition. It says select and select. You see, select and select, which means it's a loop. It's a loop. It's taking a lot of time in the loop. Yeah. So it's violating second guideline. So now you got the most used entry points and you want to know which is the entire system, which is the query which is taking maximum time in the system. You sort by source code position. Execute is the same result but a different perspective. So again it get you this top used SQL query in the entire system which took this much time. Double click, it takes you to the position again. Same thing. Yeah, the top or the most time consumed SQL query. So now what you got is on one side, you have got over here, on one side you've got, one second, I need to use a bit of formatting. On one side I've got the source code or my programs or my objects which violates the guidelines of performance. Let's call these objects like I told you 28,000 objects, 28,000 sorry, let's say 6,000 objects which violate the guideline, total 28,000 statements. On the other side I have got the objects which are most used and taking most time in production system. What I will now do, I'll do a merge. And somebody was telling about priority. You know what? You gotcha. This is your priority. The code which is violating guideline and the code which is most used in production and which violates the guideline. Yeah. The intersection of these two circle is your priority. That is the one you start fixing first. Yes. These are the ones you have to fix first actually. So the question is, Anubhav, will I go manually compare? So on one side, I've got these most used objects. Yeah, most used, most time taking objects. And on one side, I've got my findings. Yes, I've got my findings from the performance DB check, right? These are the findings, performance DB check. Yes, and other side, I've got here, you know, the other thing. Yeah, these are the most used in production system. So how do I do a comparison like intersection? So for this, SAP provide another tool called SWLT, SQL Work List tool, which can do this intersection. How do you use this tool? So this result what you got is in the production system. So first you have to go back to your production system and download this result. Yeah, export this result to your computer. So export from production. I'm going to production, exporting it in my desktop. Export is done. Allow. So I've got my result, or you don't have login to production, you tell your basis to give you the snapshot. Yes. And now you go to this tool SWLT. But before that, what you have done here, this, this analysis of performance DB check, you do it using code inspector. So you go to code inspector. You can go to code inspector, and now in the code inspector, you can put a object set Z Feb HANA performance. Yes. Click on create, and now you can just go back to add here Z performance. What was my program name? I forgot. So I'll give you this program name. Don't worry. In the study material, you all will have this program with you in the in the in the notepad file, so you guys can practice everything. This is a practical training with lots of case studies and programs. Small programs, not difficult ones, but very effective for learning purpose to practically do these things. So give the name, save the object set, go back here, performance inspection, create the inspection, put the object set, performance DB checks, save it and execute. It's done. And now this is your inspection. So now you go to do this comparison. So how do? You go to SWLT. First you choose the static check result, the one which you did with the code inspector. So use static check data, select my inspection result. We just did an inspection here, you see today's date. Yeah, we select that. This is your first circle. Which are the objects violating guidelines? That's our first circle. Then you come to the SQL monitor, manage snapshot, and then you choose the path. And here you, in my system, I will, sorry, I'm uploading birthday photos. Sorry. So I have to go back. Sorry. Go back again. SWLT. Static check. Use my static check inspection, which I just created. Yeah. Save. And then come back to SQL monitor, manage snapshot. And here we will create a snapshot by uploading our file, the zip file which I have just downloaded. Remember? So this is the zip file, SQLM data from production. I import it. So I'm just going to create. Allow. So in my dev system, I will do this. So I've got the snapshot from production from my basis team. I've got the snapshot and I will select this snapshot now. Yes. So I will select the snapshot. I'm importing all the data and now I create and upload. Continue. Snapshot is created, you see. Okay. So go back and just, why it's not allowing me to choose the snapshot. Something is wrong with the tool. Let me come back again. SWLT. Yeah, here it is. Okay. So use this data, choose my code inspector, static check, select a snapshot, and there's a snapshot which we just uploaded. So this is the data I've got from production system. I upload that, I select that, and then I do execute. So now what it does the intersection of these two circles, and I will get my priority. So that's your priority, my friends. You can double click and see. You see this program was taking most of the time in database. You see this SQL statement. It was taking this much time. And your static check finding is telling you, oh, there is a problematic select star. Yes, you are selecting the data. Yes, only 7.7% of fields are being used. This is a clear violation of guideline, and this is why it is taking so much time in the production. So you got your intersection, you got your priority, that this is the statement you need to hit and fix. So all the findings, it will do an intersection. So you have identified your scope. So that's how you hit the bullseye. You will help your company to identify where to make the change, and does that change really needed or not. Maybe there is a code which is already safe. Yeah, so that's why. So now you've got here, fantastic, you got everything stabilized and created, and you got the intersection, the circle, the priority. You got the priority. Fantastic. Magic, guys. Magic. Yes, this is how you help your company. Now you got your priority, but the question remains, Anubhav. I got it. I got the bullseye. I got the exact programs where I have to improve, and they're violating the guidelines. But how to improve? Tell me how to improve. What I can do as a developer to improve the quality of my code so it runs with a fighter jet speed. So for that, you need to now learn advanced code to data paradigm techniques, which I will be teaching you starting next class onwards. I am done with today's class. Time for your questions one by one.
Anubhav,
Yes.
quick question.
Yeah.
So I think the way I understood was when we started the course, we saw that we will have errors, right? For your new data models and old data models. So this performance is when all of that is fixed, right? You have a working system because
Yes.
first you need to have, because otherwise if your code is having issues, you can't even run this tool. So what I'm understanding is first so what happens if there are like thousands and thousands of lines of codes that needs to be fixed? So that is just the SCI and AD guidance, right? Those are the tools that will be used to actually fix the data model and code errors, right?
They will just identify for you. They are static code checks. There is a code, it will check against those guidelines and tell you. That's it.
So
Ultimately, it is our knowledge which we need to apply to fix them.
So step one is basically use the SCI ACT tools to first fix the code, and then now my S4 HANA system is ready, right? And then I can apply the performance DB tools, and that will be a second snap to fix the I guess the issues related to performance, right? Is that how it is going to be?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Okay, I have a good news here from one of our students. Their video issue is now resolved. I have used mobile network over the Wi-Fi. Wow, thank you. So my solution worked for you with that mobile data. So this clearly proves, sir, there is an issue in your Wi-Fi. It's time to change your ISP, yeah, and Wi-Fi router. That's the problem. Can you discuss ER diagram if time permits? Sure, sir. I got the ER diagram, and I've just got two nominations, and I've got the the winning nomination from Mr. Saket Nayak. Thank you so much, sir, for your nomination, and it's perfect. It's perfect what I wanted. So Saket Nayak, thank you so much for sending this. You win a Anubhav training t-shirt. Please send your address to my mail ID on the same email, and we will dispatch a Anubhav training t-shirt. Please tell me the size of your t-shirt also, and we will dispatch the t-shirt to your home address. Yeah, I will put this design diagram in our PPT so that everyone can take benefit from this DP design what Saket have created. Perfect. Well done job. Yes, I
Yes,
also got other
Sanket.
nominations, but this was the best
Sure.
one because some of your nominations which you guys have sent I was missing
अरे आगे तो मतलब
the
एक गेला
primary
वाटतं.
key and foreign key. Yes, sir.
डिस्कनेक्ट करना ब्लूटूथ बंद कर.
Okay. So this is the DB design.
Hello,
Yes, sir.
it's Sanket, not Saket.
Okay, Sanket. Sorry for.
Yeah, yeah. No,
So
it's
please
fine.
send your
Anubhav, thanks.
address and T-shirt size. We
Yeah,
will
yeah, sure.
dispatch a Anubhav training exclusive T-shirt at your doorstep as a winning reward for
Okay.
this DB design.
No, it's my pleasure. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. SQLM used in production system. We do performance guidance check in S4HANA dev system. Perfect answer, Radhika. Correct understanding. Correct understanding. You can watch this video recording again. I have covered that part also.